Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 on this here channel. And if you watch this show, you know what I'm going to say next about my hat. And that is that we don't do repair videos here on ETCG1. However, if you wish to watch repair videos, I will put a link right down there in the description about my Eric the Car Guy channel, which I do plenty of repair videos over there, and you can go there and watch those if you like, every week on Fridays. But here on ETCG1, we talk about stuff. And today's topic, we are going to talk about recalls. Yes, recalls. Lately in the news, we've been inundated with stuff about GM ignition switches failing, causing fires, and some deaths. And that's very tragic. But it's not the first time that we've had such instances. I think before this, it was, well, there have been some Honda recalls lately on some of the things that they've had, but I think most notably, Toyotas with unintended acceleration also had some issues. Before that, I think it was Ford Explorers and their tires. And on and on and on and on. Pintos that, you know, were the rear end. Ralph Nader made a book about the Corvair being the most dangerous car ever and took away an iconic American vehicle. That being said, recalls. They are basically the manufacturer stating that they screwed up and we need to bring your vehicle in and update it so that it does not suffer the same fate as we have seen before. Whenever I think about recalls, though, I keep coming back to that scene in Fight Club. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Ed Norton and Brad Pitt. And Ed Norton he's involved with some insurance company or some major manufacturer. I can't remember which it was, but he travels around and talks about the basic formula for how to handle these types of situations. So in other words, vehicle manufacturer puts a car out into the world. People buy that car, or let's just say vehicle. People buy that vehicle. Problems develop. Maybe problems develop to the tune of what has happened with General Motors recently, where vehicles are costing lives of people. And they sit down and they say, okay, well, what is at fault? What is the cause? Sort of like when an airplane crashes, people go out and they assess basically what the chain of events were to do that. It's a science in and of itself. But the scene I'm talking about specifically in Fight Club is where Ed Norton is sitting on an airplane talking to somebody and he's explaining the process of creating a recall. And he says something to the effect of, okay, well, we go out and we look at the numbers, the number of vehicles affected, the number of instances, and how much money the company would have to pay out should one of those instances happen, and what is the likelihood of that type of failure coming back to us. And they look at the cost of litigation for that and compare that to the cost of the actual recall, and whichever cost is less is the course of action that they take. Am I saying this is what manufacturers do? No, I'm using this as an example of how it's perceived, and you know, in some ways that kind of makes sense. It becomes very plausible to some degree. I know no manufacturer puts a product out that they, feel would harm somebody. They don't want to do that. But there's a lot of bits and pieces that have to come together to make a vehicle, which means there's a lot of potential for things to go wrong. And the manufacturer doesn't make each and every single part of that vehicle. They basically globally source whatever parts are necessary to make that vehicle. And these days, the way manufacturing is set up, all those parts arrive just before those vehicles are produced. They don't keep a warehouse full of parts anymore. They just basically say, okay, we're going to need this many parts for today. We're going to reach out to our vendors or whatever, and they're going to deliver us just the parts that we need. And that's what they do. I think it's called JIT, or just in time. It's a type of manufacturing, I think, that was pioneered by the Japanese back in the 80s. And it's a very lean, efficient way of manufacturing. But what that means is there's a lot of parts that come together at the last minute. And as I said, many things can go wrong, either in the manufacture of a specific part, say an ignition switch in the case of those General Motors vehicles, or some other part, like the tires on the Fords, for instance, or the transmissions in Hondas. They keep track of all that, and they know where it all came from. Everything's got a number, everything's got an origin, everything's got a paper trail, or these days, some sort of electronic trail. And so they know who's accountable, but at the same time, I guess what I'm saying is it's difficult to keep track of all those little ones and zeros as they go through things. They want to get a product out the door because they need to keep the lights on. They need to sell that product in order to continue being who they are. Well, it's not to say that they don't make billions of dollars, but I'm sure they've got quite a bit of overhead, running factories and everything else. That being said, it begs the question. I mean, is it a situation where they look at it and they might be aware of a situation, such as what General Motors is up against right now? Were you aware of that situation before it happened, and did you do nothing? Did you not pursue an action that could have prevented the loss of life? That's a slippery slope, and it's a really difficult question to answer. And really, I'm just putting this question out there. I'm not trying to answer this question in this video. I'm just saying, hey, I wonder how this all comes to pass, and I wonder, how we are affected as the public, as the vehicle buying public down the road. I mean, are we going to get a product that suddenly starts accelerating and causes an accident that could cause loss of life or serious injury or anything like that? None of us want that type of thing. And like I said, the manufacturers don't want that either, but it makes me wonder how tight they're running the margins and where the money is going and how much money does a person at the top need to make for what do they need to be compensated for to do what they do, and do they look at situations like this as a big loss? Because it's not just the guy at the top. These companies have shareholders, so they're groups of people that are all contributing to that decision-making process. And it goes way up. It's an interesting topic. It's an interesting, it's interesting. And I can't say one way or the other how it goes down because I don't know. I can only sit here and speculate and, as I said, start this conversation, which is what I'm doing here on ETCG1. Remember I said we talk about stuff here. If you wish to continue this conversation, I welcome you to contribute. I really do. I'd love to hear your opinions on recalls, your experiences with recalls, your opinions on the things that I've just said. If you like the movie Fight Club, yeah, we don't talk about it. All those things. I'm interested in your opinions. This is a conversation after all. And as I said, if you wish to continue this conversation, there's a link in the description to a discussion about this video over at ericthecarguy.com. In addition to that, you can always comment. I would also ask that you hit the like button and also subscribe, not just to this channel, but also Eric the Car Guy, because, it's cool. And if you have automotive questions in addition to all this stuff, I would ask that you head over to ericthecarguy.com. There's a welcome video there to tell you about all the amazing features we have at ericthecarguy.com to help you with automotive issues, should you have them. In addition to that, if you wish to connect with me socially, I can be found on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. And ETCG1 videos come out on Monday, so look for me here next Monday. Thank you for watching. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and I will see you next time.